What you're about to hear has never been revealed to Western media until now. A former bodyguard to Ri Sol-ju Kim, Jong-un's wife, is breaking his silence about what he witnessed inside North Korea's most guarded residences. Her mess boxes filled with cash, designer bags worth enough to feed entire provinces, and the night he realized his 12-year-old daughter could become the regime's next victim. This exclusive testimony exposes the hidden reality behind the world's most secretive dictatorship. For more exclusive testimonies from inside North Korea's power structure, subscribe and become part of our investigative community. It all started like this. Fall of 2015, Changjan Street in central Pyongyang. I lived on the 8th floor of a 15-story building, right in the heart of Pyongyang. From my window, I could see the Daedong River, and every night, the Juche Tower lit up the sky. I was 33. I'd been working as a bodyguard with the Guard Command for 7 years. My rank was captain level, but rank wasn't what mattered. The real privilege was the special rations. On the 20th of each month, the supply truck would arrive. 20 kilograms of rice, 5 kilograms of pork, and fruit apples or pears. Our table always had real rice, real cabbage kimchi too. "Honey, should we cook some meat tonight?" my wife asked while preparing dinner. She'd graduated from Pyongyang Light Industry College and worked as an engineer at a textile factory. A kind, thoughtful person. "Sure, our daughter loves it." Our daughter was 10 at the time. 4th grade. Every day after school, she'd come home bursting with news. "Dad, I got 100 on my math test." That's my smart girl. I remember lifting her up, both of us laughing. Back then, I thought this would last forever. Born in Pyongyang, raised my family in Pyongyang, watch my daughter go to a good university here. Simple dreams. My older brother was a mid-level officer in the state security department. Once a month or so, we'd meet for drinks. He lived in the city too. "Seong-woo, where are you stationed these days?" "Near Mansu Hill, brother. Lots of events lately. Busy. Well, take care of yourself. Your job matters." He always encouraged me. Our family went back 3 generations of party cadres. Grandfather was an anti-Japanese guerrilla. Father taught at Kim Il-sung University. Good bloodline. That's how we got these privileges. But something felt off. One Saturday afternoon, I was walking with my daughter along the Daedong River bank. We passed a distribution center. A long line snaked outside. The people looked terrible, gaunt, eyes dull and lifeless. "Dad, why are those people standing there?" They're waiting for rations. But ours get delivered to our house. Why don't theirs?" I couldn't answer her innocent question. I just held her hand tighter and kept walking. That night I couldn't sleep. Outside my window, the Yusha Tower still blazed bright. But beneath that light, in the darkness, people were starving. I turned away from it then. Told myself our family was safe. As long as I raised my daughter well, we'd be fine. But something gnawed at me. A feeling that things were going wrong. That was the beginning. A few days later, I got new orders. "Captain Kim Seong-woo starting tomorrow. You'll be assigned to the Mansu Hill Special Security Zone." "Where, sir?" "Supporting Ri Sol-ju's schedule." My heart raced. Ri Sol-ju, wife of our supreme leader, known as the mother of the people. This was it. The core assignment. I felt proud. I went home and told my wife. "Honey, I've been assigned to Comrade Ri Sol-ju's security detail." "Oh my, that's incredible." She was thrilled. We both thought our family's future had just gotten brighter, but I had no idea that moment was about to turn my entire life upside down. That night, the Yucha Tower shone bright as always. I didn't know then that its light would soon reveal the darkest truth I'd ever seen. January 2016, my security detail for Ri Sol-ju began. At first, I only followed her daytime public schedule, school visits in Pyongyang, theater performances, that sort of thing. Then, after about 3 months, I was added to the night shift. "Captain Kim Seong-woo, starting tonight, you'll take on corridor duty." "What are my hours?" 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Guard the corridor outside Comrade Ri Sol-ju's quarters, the Mansu Hill Special Residence, where Ri Sol-ju stayed when she worked late into the night. A luxurious building. Marble floors, chandeliers. My first night, I started at 10. The corridor was quiet. Occasionally, light seeped from under her door, but no sound. Then around 11 o'clock, rustling. At first, I wasn't sure what it was. I listened carefully. The sound was coming from Ri Sol-ju's room, unwrapping, opening cardboard boxes, tearing plastic. It went on, for over an hour, just that constant unwrapping. What could she be opening so much of? I was curious, but I couldn't ask. As a guard, you see and hear things, but you never speak of them. That was the rule. About a week later, during the day, I helped with some cleaning near her room. That's when I saw it. Luxury brand boxes stacked like mountains, orange Hermes boxes, black Chanel boxes, brown Louis Vuitton boxes. I counted 47. They filled an entire wall. What are all these? I asked a senior guard standing nearby. Designer bags. They come in from China every month. Comrade Risolju collects them. This many? This is nothing. There are more in the closet. Over 100 pairs of shoes alone. I was stunned. One of those boxes probably cost more than a month's worth of rations for my entire family. From that night on, the sounds felt different. Every night at 10, without fail, it would start. Unwrapping. 1 hour. 2 hours. Sometimes until 1 in the morning. Rustle, rustle. And occasionally I'd hear Risolju's voice. This one's for Kim Chul-soo. This one's for Park Young-hee. Labeling them. She was dividing up designer bags as gifts. To whom, I found out later? Chinese officials. Smuggling brokers. People she was bribing. One winter night in 2016, I was standing guard in the corridor when suddenly Risolju's door opened. Her secretary stepped out and spoke to me. Comrade Captain, could you load these boxes into the vehicle? Yes, understood. 15 Hermes boxes. Each one felt heavy when I picked it up. What could be inside to make them this heavy? As I was carrying them to the car, one of the lids came loose. I saw inside. They weren't bags. They were filled with money. $100 bills packed tight. I calculated each box had at least $10,000. 15 boxes meant $150,000. Over 100 million won in our currency. I quietly asked the senior guard next to me, "What is this?" Comrade Risolju requested cash instead of luxury items. Chinese brokers send money packed in Hermes boxes like this. Why do it that way? It's a bribe. If they give designer bags, it's too obvious. So they convert it to cash. That night I couldn't sleep when I got home. A report I'd seen a few days earlier kept running through my mind. An internal guard command document. A report on the ration situation in Hamgyong province. Hamgyong province rations suspended for 3 months. Estimated deaths by starvation 20,000 people. 20,000 were dying of hunger. And Risolju was receiving cash stuffed into Hermes boxes. I did the math. I'd heard that one Hermes Birkin bag cost around 50 million won. With that money, you could buy 20 tons of rice. Enough to feed 200 families for a year. Risolju's room had 47 designer bags. If you sold them all, you could save the starving people of Hamgyong province. But every night those bags were unwrapped and sent as gifts to Chinese officials. From that night on, the sounds felt different. Rustle, rustle. It wasn't just unwrapping anymore. It sounded like the screams of people dying, like the moans of 20,000 souls. Standing in that corridor listening to those sounds, I thought, is this what the mother of the people does? And then a more terrifying thought. Could my daughter one day become like the money inside those bags? Someone's bribe? That night, something inside me broke. Everything I'd believed in started to crumble. We were taught we lived in the greatest nation. We didn't. We were taught we were the happiest people. A lie. Every night, the sound of luxury wrapping being torn open. Hidden in those sounds were 20,000 deaths. And I was just a guard forced to watch. Spring of 2017, my daughter was graduating from elementary school and about to start middle school. One Saturday evening, we were having dinner at home. My daughter said, "Dad, when I go to middle school, I want to learn dance." Dance? I didn't know you liked dancing. Yeah. My friends say if you get into the Mangyongdae Student Children's Palace Arts Troupe, it's really great. I almost dropped my spoon. The Mangyongdae Student Children's Palace Arts Troupe officially, it was a special educational institution for talented children, but the reality was different. It was a place where children were groomed to be used at high-level events. They weren't taught singing and dancing. They were used to entertain high-ranking officials. Yoonji, we need to think carefully about that. Why, with our family background, I could get in. My wife was actually enthusiastic. She didn't know what I'd seen during my work. That night, I talked with my wife. "Honey, the arts troupe isn't right for her." "What do you mean?" "Our daughter has good bloodline, she's pretty, she dances well. It's because of what happens inside." "What are you talking about?" "The state raises them there." I couldn't tell her what I'd seen. Young arts troupe students at Risolju's events, forced to stay late into the night, called to drinking parties with high officials. Once it was around 2 in the morning. I heard a girl crying near a building by Resol Jews residence. She looked about 15. Please let me go home. I miss my mom. But no one helped her. The next morning, she still hadn't come out of that building. I found out later she was from the arts troupe. A party official's son had taken an interest in her. She became special management. I couldn't let that happen to my daughter. A few days later, I arrived at work and the deputy commander called me in. Captain Kim Seong-woo, I hear your daughter is starting middle school. Yes, sir. I understand she has talent in the arts. I can write her a recommendation for Mangyeongdae Student Children's Palace. My chest tightened. It wasn't a recommendation. It was an order. Refusing would mark me. Thank you, sir, but my daughter wants to focus on her studies. Captain, do you understand what an honor this is? She'd meet the general, travel abroad for performances. Yes, I understand. But let me think about it. You have until next week. That day I went home and told my wife, Honey, we can't send our daughter to the arts troupe. Why not? The deputy commander himself is recommending her. Because of what happens inside. I couldn't bring myself to say more. I couldn't look my wife in the eye. What do you know? I'm trying to help our daughter's future. Honey, you work at the guard command. So you act like you know something special, but think about your daughter's future. That night, my wife and I had our first big fight. She cried and went into the bedroom. I sat on the living room sofa watching my daughter sleep. 12 years old. Still just a child. Too young to know how cruel the world could be. I have to protect her. That was all I could think. The next day, I met my brother. I wanted to talk to someone. Brother, I have a dilemma. What is it? They want me to send Yoonji to the arts troupe. I don't want to. My brother set down his drink and looked at me. Song-woo, you've been acting strange lately. Why do you overthink everything? Brother, do you know what happens inside the arts troupe? So what can you do? As long as we live in this system, we have to follow along, even if it ruins my daughter's life? He sighed. Seong-woo, don't think so deeply. Just go with the flow. It's easier. That night when I got home, my wife said, Honey, I'm sorry. I got too worked up. No, I didn't explain it well. But why are you so against this? I took my wife's hand. Honey, I want to protect our daughter. In this country, I can't even do that properly. Tears welled in my wife's eyes. Then what should we do? That night, I looked out the window. The Yucha Tower still shone bright, but now it looked fake to me. A country where you can't even raise your daughter the way you want. Where people in power unwrap luxury gifts every night, while 20,000 starve to death. I couldn't take it anymore. That night, I started thinking seriously. Should we leave this place? March 2018, spring was coming to Pyongyang. It was just another morning commute. As I entered the guard command gate, something felt wrong. My colleagues' faces were hard. What happened? You didn't hear? Captain Choi? Jin Hyuk's family, Choi Jin Hyuk, was in our unit. We were the same rank. His daughter was the same age as mine. What about them? Last night, the State Security Department took them all. His wife, son, daughter, everyone. My heart sank. Why? They found a USB drive in his house. Had a South Korean drama on it. His son had watched it in secret. They took the whole family for that. That's not the real problem. Choi Jin Hyuk worked for the guard command. They made an example of him for lacking security awareness. That whole day, I couldn't focus. Choi Jin Hyuk's face kept appearing in my mind. Just a month ago, we'd been drinking together, laughing. My son doesn't study, just hangs out with his friends all day. Well, as long as he's healthy, right? That's what Choi had said, bragging about his son. That son, where was he now? Somewhere in a labor camp, dying. 14 years old. When I got home that day, my daughter ran up to me. Dad, today at school we had a drawing contest and I won first place. Tears almost came to my eyes. Tomorrow this child could be dragged away just like Choi Jin Hyuk's son. That's wonderful, sweetheart. I hugged her tight. So tight that she said, Dad, that hurts. That night, I talked with my wife. Honey, can we keep living here? What do you mean all of a sudden? You know, Captain Choi Jin Hyuk, right? His whole family was taken today. My wife's face went pale. The entire family because of one USB drive? We don't know when the same could happen to us. What if someone found out about the things I've seen while guarding Resol Jew? If I said even one word to anyone, I couldn't finish the sentence. My wife squeezed my hand. Are you thinking? Honey, we have to think of our daughter. Her future. That night I started planning in earnest. Defection. Even saying that word out loud was terrifying. But I had no choice. I'd saved money for 10 years, selling special rations. holiday bonuses. Altogether, I had about 15,000 US dollars and 3 gold rings my mother had left me. The problem was how to get out. Guard Command security personnel were monitored more closely than regular citizens. If we traveled, we had to report it. Family movements were all tracked. But there was one possibility. Among my colleagues, there was someone from Hamgyong province, a guy named Ri Myung-chul. He had many relatives back home. Rumor was that one of his relatives was a broker near the border. One day after work, I called Ri Myung-chul. Myung-chul, want to grab a drink? Sure, sounds good. At the bar, after a few drinks, I asked carefully, Myung-chul, you're from Onsong, right? Yeah. Why? Do you know anyone over by the Chinese side? Ri Myung-chul set down his glass and looked at me. His expression changed. Brother, don't tell me, keep your voice down. I'm serious. He hesitated for a long time. Then he said, Brother, you know how dangerous this is, right? If you get caught, it's not just your family that dies. I know, but I'm asking anyway. Why? I want to save my daughter. Ri Myung-chul sighed. I'm going back home next week. I'll ask around. But brother, are you absolutely sure? Yes, I'm sure. That night I told my wife, Honey, I'm looking into a way out. You're really doing this? For our daughter, there's no other way. My wife started to cry. I was born in Pyongyang. I've only ever lived in Pyongyang. How will I survive if we leave? We'll be free. Our daughter can do what she wants. Aren't you scared? I'm terrified, but staying here scares me more. 2 weeks later, Ri Myung-chul contacted me. Brother, I found someone, but it'll cost a lot. For 3 people, you'll need at least $20,000. $20,000. I was 5,000 short. That night, I took out the gold rings, my mother's keepsakes. Before she passed, she gave them to me. Song-woo, use these when times are hard. I could almost hear her voice. Mother, forgive me. I'm saving your granddaughter. I sold the gold rings and got $5,000. Now I had $20,000. June. I made contact with the broker. September 23rd. Meet at the Tumen Riverbank in Onsong County. Exactly 2 Mem. If you're late, you can't go. I had 3 months. I needed to prepare during that time. The hardest part, what to tell my daughter. One Sunday afternoon, I walked alone with my daughter along the Daedong Riverbank. Yoonji, Dad has something to ask you. Yeah? Would you be okay? Leaving Pyongyang. She stopped walking and looked at me. Why? Are you going on a work trip? Yes. A long one. Our whole family together. Where to? Very far away. My daughter took my hand. Dad, as long as I'm with you and Mom, anywhere is fine. I almost cried. September 15th. I visited my father's grave. I told my brother I was going to pay respects. I sat in front of the grave and poured a drink. Father, forgive me. I'm leaving this country to save your granddaughter. 3 generations served the party loyally, but I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. Tears fell. When I left my father's grave, I didn't look back. If I had, I might have stopped walking. The night of September 22nd, I packed. A few changes of clothes. My daughter's photo album. A picture of my wife's mother. That was all. I told my daughter, Anji, tomorrow we're going on a very early morning trip. You can't make any noise and you have to listen to Dad carefully. Okay, I understand. That night I couldn't sleep at all. Tomorrow everything would change. If we succeeded, freedom. If we failed, death. But I had no regrets. This was for my daughter. September 23rd, 1 a.m. When we left our Pyongyang apartment, I took one last look at the Juche Tower. I thought I'd never see those lights again. Honey, are you ready? My wife asked in a trembling voice. Yeah. Is Yoonji asleep? We should wake her soon. Ri Myung-chul brought a car, a guard command vehicle. We'd borrowed it under the guise of a work trip. Brother, you're really going? Yeah. Myung-chul, thank you. I'll be careful not to cause you any trouble. Brother, just contact me once if you make it out alive. That's all I ask. We got in the car. I woke my daughter and put her in the back seat. Dad, where are we going? On a trip. Just rest a bit more. Pyongyang to Onsong was a 6-hour drive. There were 3 checkpoints along the way. First checkpoint, I showed my guard command ID. Where are you headed? Business trip to Hamgyong province. For a security inspection. Your family is coming too? Yes, we're also visiting ancestral graves. We passed through. Second and third checkpoints were the same. My guard command credentials worked. 1:30 Mem. We arrived in Onsong County. The broker had designated a meeting spot in a cornfield by the river. We parked the car and waited. 2 o'clock sharp. I heard someone approaching. Kim Seong-woo? Yes. You have the money? Here. I handed over the bag. $20,000 inside. The broker checked the money and said, Good. Follow me. Don't make a sound. 1 kilometer from here is the river. We walked through the cornfield. I carried my daughter. My wife followed behind. After about 20 minutes, I heard the sound of water. The Tumen River. See that? Cross that river and you're in China. It's about 80 meters wide. Water will come up to your waist. We cross now? Yeah. The guards change shifts at 2:30. If not now, there's no chance. My heart was pounding. Unji, don't get off Dad's back no matter what, okay? Okay. But Dad, I'm scared. It's okay. Dad will protect you. I took my wife's hand. Honey, can you do this? I have to. For our daughter. I stepped into the water. It was freezing. September, but the river felt like ice. 1 step at a time. The water rose to my knees, my thighs, my waist. Carrying my daughter made it hard to keep my balance. Honey, are you okay? My wife was gasping behind me. Yes, I'm fine. We were halfway across when bang, a flare shot into the sky, fired from the North Korean side of the river. The night sky lit up like day. Get down, the broker yelled. I held my daughter tight and lowered myself into the water. My wife crouched beside me. Dad, I can't breathe. My daughter tried to lift her head to breathe. I covered her mouth. I'm sorry, Yoonji. Just hold on a little longer. 30 seconds felt like 30 minutes. I heard the guards' voices. What's that over there? Something in the river? A flashlight beam swept across the water. It passed right next to us. 1 meter to the left and we would have been caught. Nothing there. Probably just a fish. You think? Check again. My daughter was about to cough. She'd swallowed water. I pressed my hand harder over her mouth. Her face turned red. She couldn't breathe, but I couldn't let go. If she made a sound, we'd all be shot. Yoonji, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tears mixed with the river water. After about 2 minutes, the guards turned away. Nothing here. Let's go. The flashlight disappeared. I released my daughter's mouth. She started crying quietly. Shh, Yoonji, you can't make noise. Just a little more. Comforting her, I started walking again. My legs were shaking. The broker ahead motioned with his hand. Almost there. Just a bit more. The water gradually got shallower. Waist, thighs, knees. Then finally I felt solid ground. Chinese soil. My legs nearly gave out. I set my daughter down and hugged my wife. Honey, we did it. We made it. My wife cried silently against me. My daughter was still shaking. Soaked clothes, trembling. Unji, it's okay now. We're safe. I held her tight. The broker said, Congratulations. You're alive. 2 kilometers from here is a Korean-Chinese village. You can rest there. As we walked, I looked back. Across the Tumen River was North Korea, a land shrouded in darkness, where I'd lived for 36 years. Somewhere out there was my father's grave. My brother was living somewhere in that darkness. Brother, forgive me. I'm leaving first. I turned away from North Korea for the last time, a land I could never return to. But my daughter was alive. That was enough. When we reached the safe house in the Korean-Chinese village, it was 4 a.m. I changed my daughter out of her wet clothes and put her to bed. Even in her sleep, she was shaking. Dad, I was so scared. I know. It's okay now. Sleep tight. After she fell asleep, my wife and I sat facing each other. Honey, we really did it. Yeah. But this is just the beginning. I looked out the window. The eastern sky was growing light. A new day was dawning. Our first morning in the land of freedom. 3 days after arriving in China, we were hiding in the basement of Mr. Kim Chulmin's house, a Korean-Chinese man. No windows, no ventilation, but it was safe. For now. Just stay 2 more days and I'll move you to the next location. Mr. Kim said, bringing us food. Thank you so much. I don't know how to repay this kindness. We're all the same people, aren't we? I've helped many from the north. Isn't this dangerous for you? It is. If the Chinese police catch me, I get fined. But hey, I'm getting paid for this work. That night, my daughter got a fever. Dad, I'm cold. I touched her forehead. It was burning. She'd been in the freezing river too long. Honey, Yoonji has a high fever. Do you have medicine? My wife asked Mr. Kim. I've got fever reducers, but we can't take her to a hospital. They won't treat anyone without ID. For 3 days, my daughter was sick. We barely managed with fever reducers. No hospital, no proper medicine. Watching my daughter in pain, it broke my heart. We came here looking for freedom, but this feels like another prison. A week in, Mr. Kim came rushing down. Big problem. Pack now. Right now? Why? What happened? Chinese police are doing a sweep of this neighborhood, looking for North Koreans. They'll be here in an hour. My heart sank. Where do we go? Up into the mountains for now. I'll show you the way. I carried my daughter up the hillside behind the house. Late September, the nights were cold. My daughter still had a fever and my wife was exhausted. We hid in a mountain cave that night. Dad, I'm hungry. I know, sweetheart. Just hold on. Tomorrow morning we'll go down and eat. But when morning came, we still couldn't go down. A text from Mr. Kim, police still here. Stay hidden one more day. We spent 2 days in the mountains. No food, shivering from cold. On the third night, we were finally able to come down. I'm sorry. This sweep was unusually intense. What's going on? Rumors a high-ranking defector from North Korea crossed over, so the Chinese police are nervous about North Korea's Security Bureau and going all out. High-ranking defector. Could they be looking for me? A guard command security officer defecting, that would be huge for North Korea. Someone who'd guarded Ri Sol-ju. Mr. Kim, do you know who that defector is? Not exactly, but I heard it was a high-level guard from Pyongyang. It was me. From that night on, we had to be even more careful. We couldn't go outside. We stayed locked in that basement. A month passed. My daughter grew quieter and quieter. No sunlight, no going outside. Honji, are you okay? Yeah, just hang in there a little longer. We'll be in South Korea soon. Dad, when we get to South Korea, can I go to school? Of course you can. You'll make lots of friends. I really want to make friends. There was no life in her eyes. How hard must it be for a 12-year-old to be trapped in a basement? My wife was getting thinner too. Honey, did we do the right thing? What do you mean? But this doesn't feel much different from North Korea. We're still hiding here. Honey, just hold on a little longer. Things will be different when we get to South Korea. But I wasn't sure myself. 2 months in, Mr. Kim brought good news. A South Korean pastor contacted me. We're meeting next week. Really? Yeah. But the pastor said your situation is especially dangerous. What did you tell him? That you're from the guard command, and that you guarded Ri Sol-ju. And his expression turned serious. Why? He said North Korea is putting massive effort into finding you. They've put out alerts to the Chinese police and planted informants throughout the Korean-Chinese community. A chill ran down my spine. A week later, I met Pastor Park Yohan, a South Korean missionary. Brother Kim Seong-woo, it's good to meet you. Thank you, Pastor. How are you holding up? It's hard, but we're managing. The pastor's face was grave. Brother, I'll be honest. Your identity is extremely dangerous. I know. You can't stay in China long. You need to get to a third country as soon as possible. Where should we go? There's a route through Laos to Thailand. From there, you can request protection at the South Korean embassy. How much will it cost? For 3 people, you'll need about $5,000 more. $5,000. I didn't have it. Pastor, I don't have. It's fine. The church can help. Someone like you needs to reach South Korea. You have so much to testify about. Tears came to my eyes. Pastor, thank you so much. Thank God, not me. I'm just his instrument. That night, I told my wife, honey, we're going to Laos. Laos? Where's that? Southeast Asia. We'll go through there to Thailand, then to the South Korean embassy. How long will it take? About a month. My wife looked at our daughter. She was lying on the basement floor asleep. Can Unji handle it? She has to. There's no other way. The night before we left, I told my daughter, Unji, tomorrow we're going on another trip. Again? Where to? Very, very far away. And after that, we go to South Korea. When we get to South Korea, I can go to school, right? Of course. Then I'm happy. I really want to go to school. I hugged her tight. Yoonji, just hang in there a little longer. Dad will get you to South Korea, I promise. 4 months in China. We'd come looking for freedom, but this was another prison. But I couldn't give up. Not when I thought of my daughter. The next morning, we climbed into a cargo truck, headed for Laos. Another kind of hell was waiting for us. January 2019, we boarded a cargo truck in southern China. Mr. Kim said goodbye. Mr. Seong-woo, be safe. Make it to South Korea and live well. Mr. Kim, thank you for everything. I'll never forget this kindness. It's fine. We're all the same people. When Korea unifies, come to Pyongyang and buy me a bowl of cold noodles. We climbed into the truck bed. 2 other defector families were already there. Hello? We exchanged greetings. But no one talked much. Everyone was on edge. The truck door closed. Darkness. No windows, no light. Just pitch-black darkness as we started moving. Dad, I'm scared. It's okay, Yunji. Hold Dad's hand. The truck drove for 3 days. No toilet. Just a bucket in the corner where over 10 people relieved themselves. The smell was unbearable. My daughter kept gagging. Ugh, Dad, I think I'm gonna throw up. Hold on, Yunji. Just a bit longer. We barely had any food either. 1 piece of bread per day. 1 bottle of water. That was it. On the 3rd day, the truck finally stopped. The door opened and light poured in. My eyes hurt. I could barely open them. Everyone out. From here, you walk. It was the Laos border. The broker said, you have to walk 20 kilometers. We can only move at night. In the daytime, you'll get caught. 20 kilometers. Carrying my daughter. We set off at dusk. A jungle path. Not even a proper trail. Tree roots everywhere, easy to trip. I carried my daughter. At first it was okay, but after about 5 kilometers, my legs started shaking. Honey, are you all right? My wife looked exhausted too, gasping for breath, barely walking. Yes, I'm fine. Around 11 p. The broker stopped. Let's rest here. 2 hours, then we move again. I collapsed on the ground. My whole body was drenched in sweat. I set my daughter down and she started crying. Dad, I can't walk anymore. My legs hurt. Yunji, just hang in there a little longer. When we get to South Korea, everything will be fine. How far is South Korea? When do we get there? Soon. Very soon. But I wasn't sure myself. We started walking again at 1 a.m. After another 5 kilometers, my daughter collapsed. Yunji, I felt her forehead. It was burning like a furnace. Honey, Yunji's fever is really high. What do we do? There's no hospital here. I asked the broker. Can we get medicine? We're in the middle of the jungle. Where would I find medicine? We have to get to a village first. I carried my daughter and kept walking. She was barely conscious. Dad, I'm so cold. So cold. I know. We'll get somewhere warm soon. Just hold on. Around 5 a.m. we reached a small Laos village. The broker contacted a local Korean Chinese person. Please get us some medicine. The child has a very high fever. We got fever reducers. I gave them to my daughter and put her to bed. For 2 days she was sick. Her fever spiked to 40 degrees Celsius. Mr. Seong-woo, we have to leave tomorrow. Will your daughter be okay? We'll just have to go. We can't stay here any longer. I carried my daughter and we set off again. From Laos to Thailand, we had to cross the Mekong River. In the middle of the night, we got into a rubber boat. A small boat with no engine. Be quiet. If you make noise, the border guards will hear. While crossing the river, my daughter moaned. Ugh, Dad. Unji, you can't make noise. It took about 30 minutes to reach the Thai side. From here, we'll drive to Bangkok. Once you get there, go to the South Korean embassy. It took 2 days to reach Bangkok. When we arrived, my daughter's condition was critical. Her fever wouldn't break. Mr. Song-woo, your daughter needs a hospital, even without ID? In Thailand, emergency rooms will take you if you have money. We went to a hospital. The doctor examined her and spoke through a translator. It's malaria. Looks like she was bitten by mosquitoes in the Laos jungle. Can you treat it? With medication, she'll recover, but she needs to be admitted. The hospital bill was $200. I only had $300 left, but I had no choice. My daughter was hospitalized for a week. During that week, my wife and I slept in the hospital hallway, taking turns. When my daughter recovered, I had $50 left. Mr. Song-woo, now you need to go to the South Korean embassy. How do we get there? Take a taxi. Once you're there, just tell them you came from North Korea. I used my last $50 for a taxi. Standing in front of the South Korean embassy, my legs were shaking. We finally made it. 40 days since leaving China. I'm from North Korea. Please help us. The guard looked surprised and called inside. A staff member came out. You're from North Korea? Yes. I came from Pyongyang. Your whole family? Yes. My wife and daughter. Please come inside. When I stepped inside the embassy, tears came to my eyes. We made it. 40 days of hell. My daughter nearly dying from malaria, running out of money, wandering through jungles, but we'd done it. The embassy staff asked, how did you get here? We crossed the Tumen River into China, then through Laos to Thailand. As I spoke, tears poured out. You've been through so much. We're safe now. The South Korean government will protect you. I lifted my daughter. Unji, we did it. We're going to South Korea. My daughter smiled. Her first smile in a month. Really? For real? Yeah, for real. We spent 3 weeks at a Thai immigration detention center, processing paperwork. Then finally, plane tickets arrived. Flight to Seoul tomorrow. That night I couldn't sleep. Excited. Tomorrow, the Free Republic of Korea. The place we'd been searching for. After 40 days of hell, we were finally going to paradise. February 5th, 2019, we landed at Incheon International Airport. Stepping off the plane, my legs trembled. Was this a dream? We're really in South Korea. Airport staff greeted us. Kim Seong-woo. Yes, that's me. Welcome. Welcome to the Republic of Korea. Hearing those words, tears came. What it felt like to truly be welcomed. When we walked outside, I looked up at the sky. Blue. Bluer than Pyongyang's sky. No, it was the same blue, but it felt different. Honey, look at that sky. It's beautiful. My daughter grabbed my hand. Dad, is this South Korea? Yeah, this is South Korea. Wow. We're really here. My daughter smiled brightly for the first time in so long. We underwent National Intelligence Service questioning and entered Hanawan. Hanawan, a place where defectors spend 3 months learning to live in South Korea. That first night I lay down in the dormitory room. Honey, how can a blanket be this soft? I know. It's better than our blanket in Pyongyang. For the first time I slept comfortably. No running, no hiding, just sleeping normally. What a happiness that was. At Hanawan, I relearned Korean. Everyone, it's not reason, it's reason. Not comrade, it's friend. We had to relearn even how we spoke. Fix our North Korean accents. I met other defectors. Onji, did you make friends? Yeah, Minji and Sujin. They're both from Hamgyong province. Seeing my daughter make friends brought tears to my eyes. So different from when she was trapped in that Chinese basement. One day during computer class, the teacher showed us YouTube. Everyone, if you search like this, you can watch anything. I searched for North Korea news. A video came up, Kim Jong-un field guidance. Ri Sol-ju appeared in the footage. On screen, Ri Sol-ju was still carrying designer bags. Chanel. Same as always. That night I couldn't sleep. I thought of the brother I'd left behind in North Korea. Did he know I'd defected? How shocked he must have been. I wondered if he'd been punished. And my father's grave, who was looking after it. My brother probably was. Brother, I'm sorry. Father, forgive me. After 3 months of training, we entered society. I received settlement funds. More than I'd expected. You can use this to rent a place and start your life. The social worker told me, we found a small apartment in Ansan, Gyeonggi province. 2 bedrooms. After we unpacked and sat in the living room, my wife said, honey, we're really living in South Korea, right? Yes, this is our home. No one will chase us out? No one will bang on the door? No, this is freedom. That night, our family held hands and prayed. God, thank you. Thank you for bringing us here alive. My daughter transferred to a middle school in Seoul. At first, it was hard. She got teased for the way she spoke. She's from North Korea. Her accent is funny. My daughter came home crying. Dad, I don't want to go to school. Yoonji, just hold on a bit. Once you get used to it, it'll be better. The kids make fun of me, saying I'm a North Korean kid. Then say this to them, yeah, I'm from North Korea. So what? Say it with confidence. My daughter sniffled and nodded. A few months later, she came home with an award. Dad, I got 3rd place in the English contest. Really? That's amazing. The teacher said I worked really hard. My daughter showed me the certificate with a smile. Seeing that smile, everything felt worth it. I got a job with a private security company. You're from the Guard Command in North Korea. Good experience, the interviewer said. I'll work hard. But why did you choose our company? The question threw me off. In North Korea, you were assigned a job. You didn't choose. The idea that I could choose my workplace was strange. The interviewer smiled. You're hired. Start tomorrow. Working there, I learned a lot. I saw a coworker argue with the boss. Sir, I think this decision is wrong. I was shocked. In North Korea, he'd have been arrested on the spot. But the boss just smiled. Okay, what's your opinion? I think we should do it this way instead. Good idea. Let's try that. So here, even subordinates can voice their opinions. It was a shock. One day, my wife was watching the news on TV and said, honey, those people are criticizing the president. Yeah, they're saying his policy is wrong. Won't they get arrested? Honey, here it's fine. Freedom of speech. Really, that's amazing. Those small things were astonishing. Like going to the supermarket and seeing rice piled high. Honey, there's so much rice. I know. In North Korea, one bag of rice was like gold. As I put rice in the cart, tears came. People in North Korea are still starving. The fact that convenience stores were open 24 hours was amazing too. Yoonji, it's 11 p.m. and that store is still open. Yeah, convenience stores are open all the time. That you could buy things at night, I started to understand what freedom meant. Being able to say what you want, go where you want, eat what you want. But the biggest freedom was this not having to be afraid. Not waking up terrified someone might knock on the door. Not trembling that one wrong word could get you dragged away. That was real freedom. 2 years passed. My daughter became a high school sophomore. Dad, I've decided what I want to do. What's that? Human rights lawyer. I want to work for North Korean people's rights. That's a wonderful dream. Dad, you told me everything you saw in North Korea. I want to help too. I hugged her. Bringing this child out was the right choice. These days, I volunteer counseling defectors. I share my experiences with newcomers. At first, it's hard. The way of speaking is different. The culture is different. But endure. Here, if you work hard, you can do anything. One Saturday afternoon, I was walking with my daughter along the Han River. Dad, do you ever think about North Korea? Sometimes. I miss home. I miss grandfather's grave. Do you think we can go if there's reunification? I don't know. Will we see reunification in our generation? I hope so. Then we could go pay respects to grandfather. My daughter was right. Without the 38th parallel, it'd be a few hours on the KTX to Pyongyang. Visit my father's grave. See my brother. But because of that one line, I can never go. Not in my lifetime. Yoonji, I hope you live to see reunification. Yeah, me too. Looking at the Han River, I thought this water must flow all the way to North Korea. The same water flowing north and south. Will this land ever become one? Will I see reunification in my lifetime? I don't know. But there's hope. Right now, my daughter dreams of being a human rights lawyer. Her generation will do something. That night, I wrote in my journal, October 16, 2021. It's been 2.5 years since we came to South Korea. I'm still adjusting. Sometimes I think of North Korea, my brother, father's grave, our Pyongyang home. But I have no regrets. Just being grateful that my daughter can laugh freely and dream. Freedom wasn't free. We risked our lives for it. But it was worth it. Looking out the window, Seoul's night skyline glittered. In North Korea, nighttime was pitch black, no electricity. But here, even at night, lights filled the sky. Each light felt like proof of freedom. Ri Sol-ju is probably still unwrapping designer bags. High officials are eating Korean beef while holding meetings. But the people are still starving. Will they ever know freedom? Will North Korea ever have a skyline like this? I don't know. But I'm going to testify from here about what I saw. How many designer bags Ri Sol-ju had. How one bag could feed 200 families for a year. How inside the sound of that nightly unwrapping, 20,000 deaths were hidden. And how precious freedom is. My daughter came out of her room. Dad, tomorrow at school there's a reunification debate. I signed up. What's the topic? Why reunification is necessary. What will you say? I'll say if the 38th parallel didn't exist, I could visit grandfather's grave. That alone is reason enough for reunification. I hugged her. Do well. Okay. My daughter went back to her room. I looked out the window again. Seoul's night skyline. Freedom. The Republic of Korea. The place we risked our lives to reach. It's hard, but I'm happy. I'm afraid, but I'm grateful. And someday, when reunification comes, I want to go to my father's grave and bow. Father, I raised your granddaughter well. I raised her in freedom. I want to say that. Until that day comes, I'll keep living here, enjoying freedom, and testifying. For the people left in North Korea, thank you for listening to my story. Freedom isn't free. We risked our lives for it, but it was worth it.